right now we're seeing on X that there's a lot of negativity in terms of altcoins. Altcoins have capitulated. They have absolutely been crushed. Why Bitcoin is sitting at around about that $98,000 to $100,000, getting 5% away from the all-time high. And alts are just getting absolutely smashed, as you can see here on the monthly. Alts have just been absolutely capitulating left, right, and centre, and it's now put a lot of doubt in people's minds that if alt season is going to happen, is alt season dead? Or is this just a trick from the exchanges, from the whales manipulating the market to get you to sell your bags of altcoins? Or is this really the case that alt season's not going to happen? Well, in this video, I will talk about Bitcoin Ethereum's CRO token as well, because with CRO token, I just want to have a little bit of a delve into that one because, you know, you're seeing another ex-CEO talking about their chain and really being bullish about it, where CRO at the moment and Cronos chain really isn't doing much. So before I start, hit that like button, give us a subscribe. Your support is always much appreciated. And let's get into it. Because at the moment, what we can see here on the monthly, we know altcoins have really capitulated. But we're all starting to get a bit of bounce. A lot of altcoins are starting to bounce at the moment. We've got ADA up at the moment, 11.3%. But obviously, that's because they've had news about an ETF, which Grayscale are doing for ADA as well. So that's been quite bullish for that, and that's why we're getting a bit of a move. We're getting a few gaming tokens and also some storage tokens like Filecoin, starting to make some moves to the upside. Hex is up 72%, and PulseX is up 56%, and Litecoin 29%. And unfortunately, CRO is sitting at 6.9%. But on the daily, we can see that another bounce is happening, and we can see the same thing really happening. This time, Crow is up 4.3%. On the hourly, we're getting a bit of a pullback now from that little bit of a move that we've had up towards the upside. But I also want to point out, you've got to bear in mind, this is Altcoin. This is from Altcoin Daily, by the way, who posted this earlier today. I've also shown this before, but you know when you get these pullbacks, 38%, 38%, 33%, 38%, 36%, 29% pullbacks. We've had pullbacks. We've had big pullbacks. We've had Bitcoin going down to 90%. Which is not, obviously, I think as we go up, it does actually change because now we've got a lot of institutions involved. But the altcoins have really have capitulated down to these kind of levels. And some of them even capitulated down to a lot more, 60, 70%, specifically a lot of the meme coins. But again, is this like an opportunity to get into these coins if you've got the money to do so? You've got that spare capital. But like I said, nothing I say is financial advice whatsoever. Always do your own research. Never listen to YouTubers. This is just for entertainment purposes. And this is basically showing what I'm doing, my personal self. Everybody in a very different situation. But to me, as I said in the last video, this is buying a dip opportunity for me. And what we could see is it's so bullish. Why a lot of retail are panic selling their Bitcoin, their altcoins. We're seeing news like this. Publicly traded Metaplanet to acquire 21,000 Bitcoin worth of $2 billion by 2026. So Japan is starting to make moves as well. But also what we can see here is, also we've got like Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy buys another 7,633 Bitcoin worth of 742 million. And I showed in yesterday's video that new whales are accumulating as well as the older whales. The OG whales are still holding tight, and also accumulated at points. But what we have got to be very wary of is because obviously right now we're in quantitative tightening. Maybe there's arguments that are coming out of that now and start to get that lull moment before we start getting quantitative easing. But what we've got to watch out for, we've got the Federal Reserve data coming out on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Core CPI, US CPI month on month, US CPI year on year. So this is like basically data that the Federal Reserve will be using in terms of what they're going to do next in the next meeting, which I'll get into in a little while. But obviously, this is the inflation data. And obviously, we want to see inflation come down because that will mean then there's more likelihood that we're going to get more potential rate cuts. There's a little more confidence by the Federal Reserve and therefore probably more confidence in the markets as well. But obviously, it's all the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, all very data dependent. And obviously, what we've got to bear in mind is with crypto is very correlated to the stock markets now because thanks to the Larry Finks of the world who are now buying crypto. So obviously, we now got to bear that one in mind that we are correlated. But could this be a bullish catalyst where the bull market for the stock markets is on continuation, with obviously pullbacks along the way and maybe the odd bear market. But in general, it's onwards and upwards. So we just got to bear that in mind, because don't forget, at the moment, there is a chance of a 25 base points at 93% at the moment. So that's what, and this may change today depending on what data we get out. But like I said, with the Federal Reserve, very data dependent, and we're very correlated market. So whatever the stock markets does, like the NASDAQ, we will do as well. If they're pumping up, we're going to move up as well. If they pull back, there's a chance we're going to pull back as well. So we just got to bear that one in mind. But for the altcoins, one of the biggest catalysts who's holding us depending where we're going is obviously Bitcoin. Because with whatever Bitcoin does, the altcoins end up following. So if Bitcoin starts making moves towards the upside, it drags the rest of the market up. But if it pulls back, altcoins drop down a lot heavier. But at the moment, what looks really, really bullish, because we're in this sort of like sideways range at the moment. But what we saw is now we've got this falling wedge with falling volume, and we've broken out of this falling wedge now, and we're starting to make a way back up. But what we can see is, if you get closer, you can see basically, you can see these wicks here. These are the whales who have been buying, holding the price, while people have been trying to sell, like retail, and we've got the whales here. This is why we're getting a lot of these really big wicks here. And the same thing happened here back in the area of January of 2025, earlier January. We're getting these wicks again, wick, and then basically move straight up towards the upside, falling wedge, wicks all the way here, and now we're starting to move back towards the upside. And also we've got on Cypher B, we've got the anchor wave here with the green dot, is obviously starting to push towards the upside as well, which is really, really bullish. But obviously what I am watching out for, which is Ethereum, has been very, very weak. Though we know that a lot of institutions have been buying Ethereum over the counter, so it doesn't really affect the price too much. But we've got Ethereum, which has been very quite weak at the moment. But what we do notice is we're hitting this trend line towards the upside. We hit it once, twice, 3 times, and 4th time here. So is this the 4th time where we start moving up towards the upside? Because basically the trajectory is towards the upside. We hit that 200 EMA, wicked off that straight towards the upside, and now we're creating support again. So now what we want for the altcoins is, obviously we want to see Ethereum make some moves towards the upside and get above that orange, that 50 EMA in the green, the 20 EMA as well, to make more moves towards the upside as well. Because right now, a lot of us are out here waiting for the alt season to happen. And this video absolutely shows it picture perfectly. We're waiting for alt season. You can see the dog here absolutely drooling over the barbecue that you can see being made there. And that's like us right now. We want to see altcoins because we want to see that 10, 20, 30, 40% gains. But the problem what we got is, we've got a lot of crypto here. We're sitting at 11.1 million crypto coins on the market. And this has taken away a lot of the liquidity away from the top 50 altcoins, for example, because obviously we had that pump-dump fund and things like that was taking the liquidity. And then obviously the Trump coin came along, took out liquidity as well. But I do feel that liquidity, as we've had that big capitulation down, is going to start to roll back into the top 50 altcoins. The ones who have strong fundamentals behind it, like the ADAs, the XRPs, Ethereum even, and even like Crypto.com CRO token. I think it's going to make big moves towards the upside, because what we can see here, the total market cap is holding quite strong, actually. Even though we've had that big capitulation down to that, we wicked once, twice, and we tested it 3 times, which in my opinion is still quite bullish. It means that we've got strong demand down here for the altcoins. And what we can see here, the triple bottom. So when we look back here, this is like a triple bottom that we've had. And generally, triple bottoms end up breaking back up to the upside. Once we hit that neckline, we break up. So what we want to see is hit this neckline right here, all the way along here, break that, and it will hopefully will trajectory back up to the upside, and we'll start to see the altcoins moving again. Because what we also need is, we need to come up with a little bit of a, how can we put it, a recipe really. We want the RSI to look toppy, stock RSI to look toppy, trendline touch, altcoin season index retest breakout, fear and greed equals fear. In fact, all the ingredients that point to a bottom for the altcoins. And that's what we really, really want. Because what we can see here, this is from Sensei. He says basically, it was generally 112 days before alt season. Then it was 805 days till potentially alt season. Because what we're watching out for, this is for the Bitcoin dominance, by the way. And then obviously we've got the Bitcoin dominance there, which actually created a graveyard Dogecoin, which is very bearish. And what we see now is we whipped all the way up. We hit the top of the trend line here. This yellow line heading down towards the downside. And look now, is this red one candle here is going to be to be the pull down to the downside. Because we see Cypher B, it's been nice and steady going along. But now we're starting to dip down towards the downside. So is this the time now where we're going to start to get close to see what the altcoins are going to do? But one altcoin I am watching very carefully because I own a big bag of it is obviously CRO token, because CRO token has, like a lot of the altcoins, been absolutely obliterated. And it's been very, very frustrating to a lot of crow fam out there that we see big things happening in terms of crypto.com, but nothing's happening with the CRO token. We're getting a lot of sell pressure. Every time we pump up, we get pushed down to the downside. Is this market manipulation? We don't know. But it's getting frustrating. It is frustrating. It's frustrating for me as well. Because this is what I thought when we hit here, top of it here, 0.23, I thought this is it. We're heading up. If they did a mention about a burn or something like that, we would have flown up. We would have probably even got close to all-time high, I think. Personally, if they mentioned burns around this area here, but we're right down here now, and it's just been bleeding out down to the downside. And what we can see here on the daily, that the bulls are trying to push us back up into that falling wedge and make our way back up towards the upside. But obviously, it's all down to what happens with the altcoins and Bitcoin dominance in general. So overall, what I am watching out for is that what you've got to do is you've got to. What I want to see is to actually, to be honest with you, to get back up, to make a way up. I really want to see Chris, the CEO of Crypto.com, to actually start to be bullish more about CRO. Actually talk about CRO a lot more. Because what I see is, which I find frustrating, we've got the burns from the BitGet token pumped up 400%. And we've had Leo token move. And we've had BNB absolutely making moves. And we know what happened to BNB in 2021. It absolutely went parabolic because they did the buyback and burns, and they're doing these automatic ones as well. But what also helps it is that you've also got the CEO, well, the ex-CEO, should say, of Binance, who's bullish on it. CZ will unleash alt season, and it will start to send with the BNB ecosystem. So basically what we can see here, that CZ here, it said basically the BNB chain was caged for too long. It's time to unleash. I want to see Chris, the CEO, say CRO chain was caged for too long. It's time to unleash. I want Chris to talk more and more about the Cronos chain. I want him to talk a lot more about it than what he actually does, because this is super bullish for people who own BNB. And it is frustrating when you see BNB making these big moves all the time toward the upside, and all we see is CRO dropping down to the downside. But hopefully, there's a lot of good news out there regarding the roadmaps, potential burns coming, and also, you know, we have got the CEO is bullish, but I just want him to talk about CRO and Cronos chain just that little bit more to get it out there, because at the end of the day, the price of CRO moves up towards the upside. I believe that is going to be good for the Cronos chain, because that will bring more people eyes upon the Cronos chain than what it is now. And that's what the Cronos chain needs. It needs eyes on that. Like people have got their eyes on BNB, Ethereum and Solana and Cardano. And that's what we need with the Cronos chain. We need the CEO to talk more about Cronos and CRO. We want the marketing on Cronos chain to get out there a lot more and do a lot more than what they're actually doing. Because I don't understand why the Cronos chain do not talk more and more about what they are doing, what they are building more so. But overall, I'm still bullish on the crypto market. So like I said, give us a like and give us a subscribe, and take care on Wednesday, because like I said, we've got the CPI data coming out. That's going to be a market mover. And I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care.